Hello, this is Lady Boulay, and I hope you're having a wonderful day. Thank you for your support. Thank you for subscribing to the channel. Thank you for your thumbs up, for your comments, and thank you for sharing the videos. Thank you for all you do to support the channel. And yes, we are commanded to love one another, whether we want to or not, or whether we agree with each other or not. If any of you live in Los Angeles, California, or know what's going on in Los Angeles between the Latinos and Black Americans, please let me know, because there's been quite a bit of information coming out of Los Angeles about how the Hispanics or the Latinos treat Black Americans and how they're running Black Americans out of their own homes and neighborhoods. And I just want to know what the truth about this is, because I came across this on my Twitter page and it's quite disturbing. So listen to this.
The Black elected officials refuse to address the problem. My own congressman refuses to address the problem. And I think the problem is Black folks see all minorities as allies. And this is not the case. These people are not here for our common good. They're here for their own good. Where I don't have any ill will towards anybody, I also want to look out for my race. I'm a Black American. I've never used a hyphen. But I will refuse to turn my back on my race and see what's going on in South Central to my people and let these people come in here and just take over. I'm not going to sit back and watch it. And I think it's a terrible thing, a horrendous thing for anybody to see this going on and say, well, he's a minority like me, so I won't speak up. I don't care where he comes from. The key to this whole thing is stop the denial, stop the alliances of, in other words, he's a minority like me, so I can't speak up against him. If this was white folks committing these lynchings to us in South Central, what's going on, there would be an outrage in this country. We have had firebombs thrown through windows. We have had people's cars burned in the driveway because they happened to move into the wrong communities. We had a lady who moved to East LA, came to the state from the South, not knowing what East LA was. It was an all-Hispanic community. She wasn't there one day. We had another man who was burned out of his house in Torrance last year. We had 5 murders in Hawaiian Gardens just because the people were Black. This would not be tolerated if this was white on Black crime. But the fact that these people come here, and it's the numbers, sir, it's the numbers. They come here in the numbers, they build up the Hispanic community, and they get this sense of power against us. And there are race riots in the schools every day in Los Angeles. It never makes the media. The Black kids are being run out of the schools every day and told to go back to Africa. It never makes the media. We are having people who are being discriminated against on every avenue of society. Economic, schools, even in our prisons now. They have drawn lines, and our prisoners in California are being beat and harassed and raped by Hispanic gang members who recently arrived here.
Now, I don't know how old this clip is, but it seems to be an ongoing problem. Hispanics move into neighborhoods, and they're moving into poor neighborhoods because when you shut it down, they're talking about housing projects and low-income housing. Some of them are neighborhoods that Black people have been living in for decades. And now the Latinos are moving in, and they don't just buy a house in the neighborhood. They want to buy all of the houses in the neighborhood. My cousin lived in Oakland, and she sold her house to some Mexicans or somebody from Latin America, and she moved to whole nother city about 200 miles away. She had lived in that neighborhood for about 30 years, and there had just been Black and white people living there. And she liked living in the neighborhood. But when the Latinos started moving in, the white people started moving out. There is a cultural difference between Latino people and American people, white and Black. She didn't want to stay in the neighborhood. She wanted to move. But some people want to stay in the house that they own, and they don't care who moves into the neighborhood. This man is saying that Black people don't want to fight back against the Latinos, but Black people don't have a problem fighting other Black people. And where are the Crips and the Bloods and the gangbangers in all of this? They don't have a problem fighting other Black people. And so now this is a good time for them to show how bad they are, because something is going on in Los Angeles that needs to be addressed. And the Black people of Los Angeles need to address it. And the way you address it is you do like everybody else. You get in a group and you lawyer up and you go to City Hall, you go to municipal court, and you go to the state legislature, and you get laws passed and you get things done if people are doing things that are against you. Just sitting around and complaining about things all the time really is not a solution. You have to fight them with the laws. The only way black Americans can fight is with the laws. Because if you get out there trying to gangbang, you end up in jail and they'll end up back in Mexico. So you have to fight them with the power that you have, and that is the power of the laws. And if you don't have the laws, then you lobby the legislature to make the laws that whatever they're doing is illegal. It can be done. This article is from back in 2018, I believe. Gang members admit to firebombing black families in Boyle Heights housing development. Members of a Latino street gang have admitted to carrying out a racially motivated firebombing attack on black families in Ramona Gardens housing development in Boyle Heights, prosecutors announced. So these street gang members admitted to firebombing black families' apartments, trying to run them out so Latinos could come in, so they could shake the Latinos down for money, like street gangs do, but black people would present more of a problem. So they're trying to run the black people out. So this Latino street gang admitted to firebombing black people's apartments in this housing development. Members of a Latino street gang have admitted to carrying out a racially motivated firebombing attack on black families in a Los Angeles housing project, prosecutors announced. 3 men belonging to the Big Hazard gang will plead guilty to federal hate crimes stemming from the 2014 attack, according to written plea agreements. In exchange for the confessions, prosecutors for U.S. Attorney Nicola T. Hanna agreed to seek some leniency for the men when they were sentenced. Each faces more than 30 years in federal prison. And if black people don't like the fact that this prosecutor granted these men leniency and did a plea agreement with them, then you put bad mouth on this prosecutor, lobby against him, and vote him out of office. The nighttime attack on Mother's Day 4 years ago laid bare long-standing racial animosity Latino gangs have stoked in the Ramona Gardens housing development and elsewhere. The Big Hazard Gang claimed the Boyle House housing project as its territory, and the men set out to terrorize black families into fleeing their apartments, according to a statement released by Hannah. Yeah, they're going to take over a housing project, and that's their territory. And the city of Los Angeles didn't do anything about it. They should sue the city of Los Angeles. Gang members discussed attacking the black families in early May of 2014, where the purported gang leader told gang members that they would use Molotov cocktails to firebomb apartments of the families. So they planned to do it, trying to run the families out. Now, that's what they do back in their homeland. Back in Guatemala and Nicaragua and all those places that they came from, those are lawless lands. And they're bringing that same mindset and that same criminal activity to the United States. And if you don't push back, then it'll get out of hand. Fortunately, nobody was injured in these fire bombs, but they could have been. Women and children were in those apartments, and they continued to threaten the black people about getting out of that housing project. So after the firebombing started, black people began moving out of the housing projects. But after they started prosecuting those street gangs, black people started moving back. And in 2016, as late as 2016, 4% of the 1,800 living in Ramona Gardens were black. Well, they're not going to be able to run all the black people out of the housing projects because that's black people's home too, and you're not going to run all of them out. But my point is that You have to stand up to these people. We have to stand up to these people wherever we are. Now, down in here in these red states, they don't make bold moves like that. But it's in these sanctuary states and these sanctuary cities where you're going to have all of this trouble out of these illegals, especially the Latinos. They are going to be where they are the biggest problem now. So if you don't live in a sanctuary city and you don't live in a sanctuary state, they stay underground. But California, New York, Colorado, those states who have been welcoming to illegals, that's where you're going to have the most trouble with them. But black people have to stand collectively. Whenever a petition comes up nationwide, whenever we have a nationwide fund that we are putting together to fight legally and not just talking and marching, but going to court and holding people accountable, then we should all be on board to help with that. Okay, y'all, let me know what you think about this video. Thank you for listening. Give me a thumbs up and have a good evening.